Welcome to a new Daily Top Askreddit video. Today's topic: how do you wanna die? Without knowing what hit me. A smooth criminal. Annie, are you okay? Are you okay, Annie? Honestly. Just gone. I don't want to know that I'm dying. Like a bullet to the head, and even that doest provide a 100% chance. Honestly, sleeping. Part of me wants to die painlessly in my sleep. The other part of me wants to die mysteriously, so I get a murder mystery podcast about me. He was casually eating lunch at work talking with co-workers and he just died. The autopsy showed literally nothing wrong. No drugs, no abnormal blood test, no signs of disease. Just sudden unexplainable death. The nicest death I have ever heard of was from a long-deceased friend of my grandparents. He celebrated his 80th birthday, invited a good number of his best friends to his home, and they all had a great time. They ate, talked and even danced, and after everyone went home, the old man fell asleep in his favorite chair. Since this happened every once in a while, his wife put a blanket on him and went to sleep. By the next day he had passed peacefully in his sleep from a heart attack. I think that is certainly one of the best ways to go. Peacefully from a heart attack. What? Cardiac nurse here, not all heart attacks cause chest pain. In fact, a lot of women who have heart attacks just report vaguely feeling worn down or like they are coming down with something. Without pain. I have chronic pain for almost every moment of my life. I'm not complaining, but take it away in my death at least. Honestly, I am kind of used to pain by now, so if I die with more I wouldn't exactly bother me, but it would be nice if it didn't happen that way. Right there with ya. Sorry for all the, have you tried this? Replies, they can get annoying. Hoping for the best for you through the illnesses, my friend. No problem. It's refreshing to see many people care to help, unlike one guy who has been hounding me for most of today. Well, if I got to pick, I suppose while standing in a room full of my mortal enemies, my head explodes in Evil Dead fashion and bees swarm out of the egg hole. Why bees? I'm just curious. Cheaper than hornets. Turning off my robot body when I can no longer sustain myself on the last bits of energy in a dying, ancient universe. My battery is low and it's getting dark. Oh shit, I forgot to charge mice. In surgery. I'll have said my goodbyes just in case, and I'll be unconscious and anesthetized. Oof. I had a couple of surgeries within a year of having my kid, also a C-section, but I was awake, and my biggest fear was dying in surgery and not getting to have any dying thoughts. Oddly enough, I want to know I'm dying when it happens. I want to imagine my child's face, reflect on life, just go out with positivity. I don't want my last moments on earth to be a doctor saying okay now count to 10 for me. I don't want my last moments on earth to be a doctor saying okay now count to 10 for me. I had a minor procedure recently and when they put me under there was none of that count from 10 stuff. My anesthesiologist said this stuff will feel interesting, and then I got a really happy feeling, and then the next thing I knew it was over. I can think of much worse ways to go than that for sure. When I die I hope I won't have a pet, because they would be confused as why you left them and never came back. I want to die in my sleep. I've told my wife that if I die my dog is to be brought in to see me. Dogs understand death. I'd rather him mourn my death than suffer abandonment. They tend to process grief better this way too. When my father died, his dog, a Labrador, climbed up beside him in his recliner. She stayed there until the funeral home guys came to pick him up, and she walked them out to the vehicle. She never made a peep. Then she went back into the house with my mother, jumped up on the bed and slept there that night, head on his pillow. For the first and last time ever, the next night she slept beside the bed as she always had. She was a little shit of a dog 90% of the time. Affectionate and game, but with no real interest in pleasing anyone but herself. She was the only badly behaved dog my parents ever had. But she came through when needed. My boyfriend's brother passed away suddenly a few months ago. He lived alone with his dog, and it was a few days before anyone knew what had happened. When they found him, his dog was on the floor next to him, shaking. We think he died 2 to 3 days before they found him, and his dog never moved from his side. As soon as they let him out, he took the longest pee ever, so he hadn't even left his side for that. We don't deserve dogs. Had a friend hit and killed by a drunk driver several years ago. His dog was so happy to see me when I went to his house the next morning, still in shock but knowing she probably hadn't eaten in 24 hours. After she calmed down from the excitement of human interaction and food, the realizatio that her owner wasn't there started to set in. She moved in with me that day and seemed to be searching for her owner for at least a few years every time the distractions subsided. I learned that dogs remember their owners and it's very confusing to them if they leave one day and never come back. Still have some of his things and I had to pack them away because she could smell him on his old hats and shirts. Get a ride please if you've had too much to drink. Even dogs are devastated when they lose a loved one. Fuck, I am doing a quick Reddit read 5 minutes before this meeting I'm supposed to present in and now I'm fucking tearing up. I should not have read this. I'm sorry about your friend. Quickly. I don't want to suffer and put money into keeping myself alive. When my time comes I'm going to accept it and just wish it would be quick and I won't notice. Had a co-worker pass recently. She started chemo, then about 2 weeks ago she said to one of my other workers, "We are stopping chemo. I want to die peacefully without the meds and pain etc." She passed last week. All within a month, got diagnosed and then poof, gone. Fuck cancer. So sorry to hear this. My boss had brain cancer, he was the funniest warmest man, full of knowledge, the life and soul of everywhere he went. His cancer treatment robbed him of most of that, he didn't even look like himself. Him and his family decided eventually to stop everything and let him go as himself. Over 600 people for his funeral, says everything you need to know about him. He was fantastic and a friend to everyone, we still miss him at work nearly a decade later. Edit to add, double fuck cancer. Advertise myself as the next Evil Knievel and for my first stunt I'd attempt to jump a comical amount of buses on a ramp that shoots me straight in the air. I get a wingsuit and jump out of a plane into the funeral home ceiling. What do we do with this empty casket? What is that whistling sound? Crunch. Well, that's a use for that casket. Death by Susu. What did they die of? Crushed pelvises. Goodbye, friends. I never thought I'd die this way, but I always really hoped. The spirit is willing but the flesh is spongy and bruised. Inert gas asphyxiation in a pure nitrogen atmosphere. Quick and painless without the panic of hypercapnic alarm response. I read an article about assisted suicide once and this was their method. Fun fact, the take-home canisters of balloon helium sold in stores used to be pure helium, now they are mixed with oxygen. The quoted reason is because of helium shortages, but then why not use a cheaper gas like nitrogen? In my own bed, at the age of 80, with a belly full of wine and a girl's mouth around my cock. Thanks Tyrio. Yup, knew this was gonna be here. In 80 beds, at my own age, with a belly full of girl and a wine around my cock. In a girl's bed, with 80 bellies full of wine under my own mouth around my cock. Awesome, I just want it to be awesome. It will be. I can't decide whether that's comforting or threatening. Naked and screaming, the same way I came into this world. Naked, screaming, and covered in someone else's blood. So, a normal Tuesday night for Shia LaBeouf. Heavily bound and gagged in several layers of latex, vacuum packed in plastic and then buried alive in concrete in a remote location no one will ever find. See, this guy gets it, everybody else answering asleep or surrounded by loved ones. Everyone else sounds like Grandpa Joe. Future civilization will be very confused if they find you. Oh, this one must have been very important. In a nose-diving airplane, hurling towards the ground at Mach 1 speeds from 10,000 meters. If I'm going out with a drilly. That or overdosing on heroin when I'm 95. Edit, guys relax, I'm not a pilot. You have nothing to worry about. Lol. Make it morphine, and that is how 80% of hospice patients go. Milk of the poppy. I don't want to die. I sometimes wish I'd never been born at all. Should have thought about that before you didn't share my WhatsApp chain letter. I try so hard to use what little mindfulness I have to come to terms with death and not fear it, but it absolutely terrifies me. Both my death, and the death of my loved ones. Part of the reason why is because I'm an atheist and I don't believe in heaven or an afterlife. I envy people who are consoled by these beliefs. I can't understand nothingness. Lack of existence. I just can't comprehend it. I've had numerous NDE experiences and have seen some crazy ass shit you wouldn't believe, but I still fear the possibility of nothingness, forever. Just gone. Poof. Done. That's all forever. Such a weird concept. After defeating 100 enemies, it is always the 101st that gets you. Yes, the 101st Airborne will get you.